Anyone on this wall? Either of. To what?
No, Scott is impromptu.
So I tested negative.
I see a plus and minus sign on this side. Okay.
And there was no reason. Like that.
I just heard it.
Oh, no, I was talking to Len, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Not again.
right here, I'm sorry.
It's blinking blue.
It didn't print.
Unable to recover. Down.
Yeah, it's flashing now. It is flashing. It's not anymore though. Yeah. Yay, thank you.
It's a little pigeon.
The owl.
Oh, it's an owl.
Pigeon. Where did you?
It sounded more like a pigeon.
Was it 135? And I'm probably yeah.
All right, since we do have quorum, I will go ahead and call the study session to order at 6:32 p.m. If we can stand for the pledge of allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Durham, if you have a cell phone on, you could please silence it or turn it off. It would be appreciated. City Clerk Domingo, if you'll take roll call for us.
Councilmember Williams. Reed. Jackson.
Here.
Butler. Davis.
Here.
French.
Here.
And Mayor Snyder.
Here. Study session is to discuss items that are on the regular council agenda. First item is to discuss and approve the Whiteman Water Systems Improvement Proposal. City Manager Snyder, if you will lead us in that discussion, please.
Yeah, so I shared with council at the last meeting that the city's application for the drinking water Water State Revolving Fund was approved or released in their draft announcement. We received $9.6 million in grant funding, a little over 500,000 in a loan, meaning we would have to finance the remaining 9.1 million for the total of the $19.2 million project. Now that's for water system improvements. So that's improvements to the water treatment plant, the building of the second water tower, and then water line replacement. So since we got that announcement, I shared at the last meeting, it's a quick timeline per Eagle. So we've been working with Whiteman and Associates to kind of get this project going. So with your packet on the meeting agenda are 3 proposals that are tied to the water improvements project. We do have Nikki Bittner here to kind of go over Whiteman's proposal, and he'll kind of touch on the other 2. So Nikki, I don't know if you want to share anything regarding the proposal Whiteman provided.
Sure. Do that. The mayor, council, thank you. So this was really great news, as we said. Some of you may remember years ago, the timeline, we started looking at receiving funding for USDA rural development for low interest loans. And then on tail end of COVID, there's federal bill that made funding available to state that every state receives part of the funds, which the cities as well. And the state allocated some of theirs for the state revolving fund program for all the wastewater and water. And we said it's time to shift gears. We went to USDA to Eagles funding program. We submitted our draft, our final plan on June 1st of this year. In mid to late July, they released a preliminary project priority list. PPL for the scoring, we had a big scoring. Then, as Haley mentioned, a draft and the use plan was released. I think for 11, and we are showing for $9.6 million in grant, 50% of the project, and then just over $500,000 of low interest loan and 2.0%. That tied to less service replacement. So very great news for the city on that. Also, as Haley mentioned, there's a very aggressive schedule. Eagle does prescribe their schedule on this program. Very detailed, and the latest we can go out to bid on this is May 24th. It sounds like a long way away, but it's still a $20 million project with a lot of moving parts to it, involving a new tower, distribution main replacement, and the water treatment plant. So there's a lot to get done. And so I'm talking to Haley, matched up what the scope is with from the plan, and just said the magnitude is a little bit too much. Well, the use plan is in draft mode. It usually doesn't change very much, but part of the funding for this, we anticipate the city winning what's called a bond anticipation note, where you would sell bonds to provide cash for engineering, legal fees, financial consulting fees, some other preliminary funding costs. That will be later this fiscal year, this fall. But I have feeling that we really need to get started on the field work. There's probably 6 weeks of survey work just to get started. Our plan is to try and cut that down by throwing multiple crews at it, but that's the foundation of all our plans. And so we probably need 4 to 6 weeks to get that just before we can start doing any design. And we waited till November. I don't think we need that much. So talking to Haley, I said maybe we could, so what I provided it in your packets or consideration, it has the full scope of the total amount, but what we're asking for tonight is authorization on there's $200,000 of that to get the survey work and soil warning and some of the preliminary design going, and then probably within a month to 6 weeks, we probably have a proposal probably for the balance of that. So now I'm looking for a railroad permit that takes a lot of time as well. So that's going to be probably our first local one. They've been taking where from 4 to 15 months to issue permits, and that I don't know plan to be aggressive with that. But that's what we're doing the timeline. I think we've been provided. The proposal included a lot of relevant attachments, but the map showing where the improvements are, the overall budget that was in there, and the project priority list that we issued with well. Really great news, for the city. Then I think, I don't know if Haley mentioned this or not, but when we looked into the water main replacement, the water, this funding program, fund what's required to do the water main work and restore it. So typically the water main will go down one side of the road to the other, so where that comes into play is we can restore one half of the road and repave it back up to the surface. He said some of these roads are in really, really poor condition, so it would be a very efficient time to leverage the funds of both water funds and street funds to do the other later. So we included an option for that in the project plan that was slated to Eagle, that would be separate information. You don't need that decision right away. That's probably 6 weeks, 8 weeks out, something like that, because the survey work that we get will color would work for that as well as the water. So it's going to be building on top of that. So that one we have some time to decide on. That would have to be a separate funding source. We talked about the Michigan Transportation Fund. That is where you're at. If you want money, don't throw the gas tax money that you get. You can borrow against future payments on that. But that is that's kind of so the water project that is shown to be funded through Eagle as of right now, which looks very, very promising. And then we're hoping we have to finance the other portion of it. So one thing we talked about maybe going to USDA for that balance. They have low interest loans, 2.5% right now. They do change quarterly, so that's something we have to decide. There's also a chance when Eagle finalizes the intended use plan, all the communities that get funded on there, some are hoping for more grant than what they may be shown, and they may drop out. And that can free up loan or grant dollars. So there's a chance that if people drop out, we could be offered something that's not guaranteed. If that did happen, the interest rate of the city to Eagle would be 2.0%, same as the I mentioned. So I would like to remain optimistic that we might try out some additional funding there, but that's not here. That's a drop out. I mean, typically with at the top of the list, they work their way down to offer that funding. So that's a.
Councilman Fred?
Thank you, Mickey. When you're talking about the other half of the road, are we talking about like turning that one lane of excavation into a full road rebuild? Or is it just like milling and filling the space on the other side?
Excellent question. So we looked at the roads, and there are some roads that are in, I'm thinking of West Broadwell.
Yeah.
Be a full reconstruction.
Yeah.
That's the only option. There are some other roads that are in better condition that we just do a resurface.
Like Michigan.
Yeah, and actually, we looked at Michigan and Northeast and talking more with
Yeah.
Haley, we said, those are state roads that. The state was certainly welcome the city paying for improvements there, but we might try to be wise to pull those out. Not invest local dollars into those, just because the state will be investing in those at some point, but. There are a couple other streets, and I know I don't have it with you, but I do have a list that I get to the office that which street is warrant a reconstruct versus which ones a resurface. So using the dollar as wisely we can, but when the project is done, they have a good looking street.
Right. Yeah, with respect to that, I was just looking at Eaton Street, and I see if you're out there with the excavation equipment, you could do almost an entire repaving of Eaton Street from top to bottom, because there's what, a 1 block, 2 block section between Mulberry and Cass. South Eaton, yeah.
Agreed.
And you could just take it all the way down, since you're already going to be doing south of Ash Street. And I'm just thinking that might be a way to sort of leverage, even if it's that sections are not a full reconstruct, but at least a mill resurface kind of thing.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. That's what we were thinking. If we don't know where the water main replacement would go at this time, it just depends on proximity to other utilities. So we have a requirement the water has to be 10 feet away from any sewer. That wasn't the requirement back when these were installed. People just put things in, so it kind of becomes a puzzle now. So Now, there's a chance the only open spot taking the tree lawn. We're not taking out any, even really, but, or we have to on the middle of the road.
Yeah.
You know, so there's, but typically it's gonna be under one lane or the other.
Thank you.
Well, there has to be a major street to get the size.
So this could be, this, I mean, the project, we looked at, couple different things. One, we wanted to replace transmission main from the water plant to the new tower. That's on the northeast part of town. And so there was some kind of bottlenecks along the way there. So we do have a few of those shown to be replaced or upgraded to help that flow. So again, this is strategically that we're gonna have, give the water plant as a source of water in the northwest part of the city. We have the tower central in the city here, and another source gonna be in the northeast part. And that just helps feed the system. Then other sections we looked at were a lot of 4-inch water main, undersized water main system, and areas of its own place.
Yeah.
And I think I mentioned this at the public hearing, but we could have pretty easily made a $50 million project here because of needs. But you know, there's a threshold, so we tried to prioritize areas that were and that could impact, and areas that have the biggest impact on fire flows. So there's some areas that have a concentration of 4-inch water main. You replace that with 8-inch, we can really do fire flows for those service areas. But that's all the areas of the section we were selected.
Any other questions for either Mickey or City Manager Snyder?
So no water tower is going to go exactly where.
That would be in the 425 area. There's north of what's been proposed. If you have that map.
Page 21 of your packet.
Because I know once before when we were talking about it, before now on council, they were talking about putting out by industrial park out by Star Commonwealth. That's why I was asking what had been chosen to do.
Yeah, actually, about 2 or 3 years ago, we designed the council on options for a tower, for what they had designed, and even at the time, it was 4 years ago now, but we were looking at to increase the city's capacity. I think we looked about 3 different options. We said you could demolish the current tower, you build a new larger tower right there, you build a second tower up, and council at that time directed us to go keep the tower here and then goes to a second location. And right around that time, it was probably after the city got a grant to repaint the tower. That was kind of weighing on it too. We said, hey, we got to paint it. Let's keep this now and look at, you know, there's advantages to having multiple towers. When you maintenance on one, take out of service. The other one maintains pressure throughout the system. The downside of 2 towers is, you know, more than you think. Then we looked at selecting a design style that is less maintenance.
Right, any other questions?
The duration of the tower is, just say, duration, the longevity, lifespan.
Meaning,
75 years.
yeah,
75.
80 to 100. I mean, you could get.
I think the
It requires painting on the interior and exterior of the tank, just like you have right here, but the one we're talking out there with a concrete pedestal, like a harvester. If you're familiar with the silos for grain, they have a concrete base and have a this will have a steel tank up on top, so that's the only portion, so it saves an enormous amount on paintings, which you and I think about painting a bedroom and stuff, it sounds so bad, but a paint tower is a whole other undertaking, it's very expensive and very expensive material, so. It's a great savings on maintenance costs over the lifetime of it, so.
All right, thank you, Mickey, and I'm sure we'll hear from you again at regular meeting. Next is our approval of the Naker Tilly financial. Baker. Awesome. Baker. Okay. The service proposal for the water systems improvement, City Manager Snyder.
Yeah, so Also tied to the water system improvement project, we will need to consult with a financial advisor to complete like a rate study to make sure that our water rates are in line to fund or support the bond payments. And then also we're gonna be required to set up a reserve fund and then capital improvements fund as well. So we'll work with the financial advisor to make sure that they complete a rate analysis for us to make sure that we get our rates to where they need to be to support this. They'll also help us with other parts of the project going along the way. They're included in the actual proposal, but we did reach out to Baker Tilly and Plant Moran. We received a proposal from Baker Tilly, so it's coming before you for approval.
Questions for City Manager Slater? Right, next will be our approval of the Miller Canfield bond proposal. City Manager Slater?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So last piece to this, Miller Canfield, they are currently our bond counsel, so they're working with us for the wastewater treatment plant USDA project. So they will provide the similar scope of work or assist us with this next water improvement project as well. So there's just a formal proposal outlining what their scope of services will be, but we're currently working with them on our wastewater project.
Any questions for City Manager Snyder on the Miller Canfield proposal? All right, next will be a request to approve of the Calhoun County early voting agreement. City Clerk Domingo, do you want to lead discussion on this?
So with the FD proposal 22-2, part of that is providing a 9-day early voting site. Because of the cost with the equipment, the personnel and all that it's going to take to run that kind of site. The municipalities in Calhoun County have banded together and we are working with the county to share the cost of the equipment. And the early voting site will actually be at the county building on the 3rd floor.
So in the package, you have information where the city of Battle Creek will be having a separate site in Battle Creek. And then the rest of the communities and township will actually be at the county building in Marshall.
And the cost sharing will change. There was a huge grant that all of the counties actually signed up for. We just don't know at this point what funding we're gonna get. So our cost sharing will definitely go down from what is in the actual agreement currently.
Any questions in regards to the, yep, Councilman Frederick?
This is separate and distinct from mail-in voting, correct? This is for people who want to do in-person voting rather than mail-in.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Attorney Hartness?
So Clerk Domingo sent me the agreement to look at, and substantively, I don't have any problems with it. The only thing that caught my attention is it's a cost sharing amongst all the participating municipalities. But there's still as Clerk Domingo indicated, there's still a question mark as to what the cost is. And the attachment that details the cost sharing basically wasn't attached. And so my only concern is we're kind of walking into into a contract with an unknown cost. Now, ultimately, it may be a lesser cost than the city may incur individually trying to provide these services, but the bottom line is, and just I want council to be aware when they approve this agreement, is it's still a question mark. We don't know what it is, and that was the only red flag that I alerted the clerk to. So,
Mayor Pro Tem Jackson?
So looking back here at these cost sharing and budgets in the back, none of this has anything to do with us? Is that what you're saying?
so there was supposed to be attached to the
Because there's some backwards.
right, and the agreement that that was being circulated amongst the municipalities had all of the attachments except for the one that was designated as for cost sharing. And so that's why I had actually emailed the clerk and said, hey, where's the cost sharing exhibit? And
Just say exhibit B cost sharing and budget for 2024. You got 2025 in here. That doesn't have anything to do with us. That's what I'm asking.
where's the
2025 and 2026. All that's in here. So that's why I'm
Page
asking the question.
66.
Page 65. Then 66, yeah, 65 is empty, but yeah, like you said, 66, 67 has nothing on it. 68 does and 69 doesn't, and then 70 has something on it, so that's why I'm asking.
yeah, so that's so. Yeah, there's
It has
that,
nothing to do with us?
there's the overall, but it's an estimate. And so we won't know what the actual number is.
Okay.
So it's not, so I guess what I'm getting at is ordinarily when we have a contract, you know, you walk in and you know, this is what your number is gonna be, or here's where your threshold is gonna be.
Mhm.
It's an estimate.
Okay.
And so it may be higher, it may be lower. It's a number that's in flux. And so that's what I want council to be aware of. It's not we don't know what it's ultimately gonna be. So you're kind of walking in with a question mark.
Can you wait until you find out?
I don't know that not if you wanna take advantage of the cost sharing.
So do we know if all the other municipalities have agreed to do this? And is that gonna be a factor in the cost?
Yes, everyone's great. The cost factor is based on the amount of grant funding that we get. So we just don't know what that grant funding is gonna look like from the state at this point. And everyone's gonna get money, we just don't know how much. So the numbers that you see here are based on no grant funding at all. It's just the municipalities funding the new equipment, the election workers, everything.
But there is potential grant funding, we know that that's out there.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
We've already applied.
Councilman French.
Yeah, so we have an upper limit. You just don't know how far down it's gonna go, which is better than.
Well, you have an upper limit estimate.
Estimate,
Yeah.
right.
Councilman Williams?
Budgeting wise, can we cover the estimate?
Yes. I budgeted for the high amount.
So given the time that we're currently at, I do want to give opportunity for public comments. But you know, the rest we can definitely discuss during the council meeting. So if there's anybody in the gallery that would like to stand and address council, all you need to do is come forward, give us your name, address, and 3 minutes is yours.
Good evening. My name is Kimberly and I'm the county person register of deeds, and I'm sorry, I'm a little late tonight. I wanted to be here to answer any questions that you may have about the grant agreement or the joint early voting agreement. And yes, as George Sando did state, there is grant funding. We just don't know what that cost sharing will be. They are sort of hoping those who partner together, more municipalities together that partner, the better chances of more grant funding we will get. So yes, we won't know, we don't know what that top dollar exactly will be. That is an estimate, as your attorney pointed out. That's the best we can do with what we have to work with, unfortunately. The cost savings overall will be much greater if we're all participating together than if we are, if the city of Albion decided to do it separately. Election inspectors alone will be a huge cost for many days of voting. So I'm here to help happy to answer any questions you might have or maybe clarify, but yeah, there's a lot of unknowns. Unfortunately, it's just what we have to work with what the state of Michigan has given us to work with. So I wish I could give you more of an answer.
Do we have a sense of when counties will be notified of grant funding?
No, we do not. The last day to apply for the grant at this point in time is today. So we did apply for the grant the first date available, which is September 8th. So we did get that in before 5 o'clock on September 8th. We found that was very important. Some municipalities and counties weren't sure what they were doing still leading up into Labor Day weekend. So it's been a scramble, so that's why the state extended the time for October 2nd as a deadline for the last time we can apply for the grant funding. So we're hoping that because we got it a bit earlier and we are partnering with 19 of our municipalities out of 23, that we will have a good chance of what we need to request the items that are needed to this.
Any other questions? Well, thank you for that information. Is there anybody else in chambers that would like to address council? Are you gonna present?
I'm not sure if you want me now or.
We can wait.
Later.
Yep.
You're already.
You have more than 3 minutes, believe me. Anybody else? All right, I will adjourn. What do I have a motion to adjourn?
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned 6:59. Not